to do the podcast today. Nation, find something to talk about for 3 hours.
For 3 hours. Now you're really
The
stretching it.
podcast has always been 3 hours. I've explained this to you like 6 times. Podcast is always meant to be 3 hours. It just never goes for 3 hours. I think the most we've got is like an hour, like 2.5 hours.
Well, do you want to talk about internet stuff?
Yeah, the only things I can think of is the UK online censorship bill, and basically everyone passing that weirdly simultaneously. Isn't it odd how all these countries come up with the same idea simultaneously?
Well, I know Canada is doing something similar or has done something similar, not in regards to porn. But our leaders do kind of want to do a similar kind of thing, and that's been, I think, since 2023, and it hasn't passed. It's been delayed or blah blah blah. But it does seem like the Anglosphere does want to, I don't know, again, just to sort of limit what people can say or see on the internet.
Same thing in Russia. Russia has massive amounts of control over the internet as well.
Which, I mean, in a way, I don't like. As I said, right, I don't really care. Like in a sense about things getting limited. I just don't want to get limited. Like, I mean, okay, these things that the UK is doing. Okay, they're forcing pornography sites to have ID and all this. Like, I don't really
not
care
just
about
pornography
that.
sites.
No,
it's weird.
No, I know.
Q Farms got a thing. He's like, you need to comply. Josh's like, no.
No, and I agree with that, right? But like, I don't know. I just think the UK should just ban porn. Like, why not? Like,
well, I mean, because like, it's never about banning porn. It's about government control.
And that's always the point too, as well. Like, if they said, "Oh yeah, we're going to ban porn, but everything else is more or less fine," I'd support that. But yeah, no, but they're going to use it as a backdoor to ban a bunch of things they don't like. I mean, you can already get arrested in the UK for posting, anti-migrant things or, anything.
Well, yeah, that's what happened when you got the two-tier care. And Nigel Farage, Nigel Farage it's just controlled opposition. There's a famous clip of Nigel Farage. I'm glad I destroyed the BNP, the British National Party.
Yeah. No, that he's been given a role and he's been fulfilling it like perfectly.
Yeah.
Even the Homeland Party, aren't they posting like gay stuff now too as well?
Well, that was just a whole thing with the whole thing with like why online right movements fail so spectacularly. It's like I was reading an article by Endeavor. It's like, you need to appeal to the top 20%. I was like, fuck off, Endeavor. If I die.
Wait, sorry. Appeal to the what? 14%? Sorry, say that again.
20% of society is like, no, you don't. And first of all, let's delusion. People like Academic Agent, aka Nima Parvini, are not the elite. Bronze Age Pervert is not the elite. Like these,
I don't think any of those would claim to be the elite.
Neither is Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a bumbling idiot who literally got kicked out of the Trump administration by being an autistic freakazoid on Twitter. That man's a member of the elite. What? Maybe Jeff.
Well, he's a member of, like, that's the thing with America, right? Because yes, there is sort of like old families and there is sort of an American aristocracy, but because of sort of American notions of social mobility and the importance of like money, like these people do kind of enter into an elite of their own. But as like Elon Musk or Bezos or Bill Gates, are these like sort of high end kind of like, I don't know, are these the standard bearers of culture? Are they pushing forward these that which best exemplifies American like culture and progress? I wouldn't say so. So I mean, I do kind of agree with.
You need to build a counter elite. Bullshit.
No, you do. You need a counter elite, but we don't have anyone who's in a position to be that elite.
Counter elite. The counter elite in Germany was a working class German laborer, a failed chicken farmer, and I think one of them was an aristocrat. Was it Goebbels?
But the point is, the Nazis had sympathy in some portions of the right wing parties in Germany. Like they did, like. They had elite segments that were kind of aligned or thought they could kind of use the populist movement to their own ends. and then the Nazis were able to, and Hitler was able to subvert that and take power for himself. Like there were elite actions that contribute to the rise of the Nazis.
No,
But
there wasn't. It was just Hitler being a good speaker, and Hitler understanding how to work a crowd, and Goebbels understanding how important propaganda was, and film and radio.
you wouldn't say that Hitler had, by making the SA and then later the SS, that kind of served as its own kind of form of military elite, like a rival castle to the Wehrmacht?
No, Rome was during the rise of power. Rome was a flaming homosexual.
No, well, that's why I got rid of him.
Yeah, well,
and also because Hindenburg wanted to get rid of him too as well, get rid of the more thuggish element of the Nazi Party.
Well, I mean that's really the only guy who got ended. But this whole idea of a elite theory is bullshit. Really, like elite theory doesn't exist. It's just a way of people like Nima Parvini. Who's that other?
I fully support elite theory. I don't believe in populism at all.
I don't. I don't believe in that.
You know what good use of the populace is? You pave them under your foundations like the Soviets did when they were making that huge aqueduct system.
See, nation, that's the reason that right-wing parties fail.
Why? Because we don't appeal to the masses.
Yeah, that's kind of the point. You do need to essentially appeal to the masses.
No, most of them. It doesn't matter if you're whatever political system you live in. It could be fascist, monarchist, democratic, blah blah blah. The vast majority of the people are just going to go along to get along. And
they are though. But you need the most 15%, the most politically active people you need people who have nothing to lose from currently fucking up the system, and that's never the elite members of society. Because there was a clip an old clip that when I was insulting Nick Fuentes, and I basically insulted him and said he had soft, girly hands. And one of the faggots on Jubilee, that faggot Duma or something, he said I'm a creek shitter. It's like, dude, I make more money than you. I make more money than you being a carpenter. And the point I was making is like, I figured something out. The reason that people like Nima Parvini, Bronze Pervert, that Duma nationalists are angry is because these are the failed sons of upper middle class jackasses. Nothing wrong with being wealthy. My family's somewhat wealthy. But like I've met people who have like $16 million trust funds. They are dysfunctional wrecks of human beings. I was in
things degrade. Nothing stays stagnant forever.
Nation. I built like really, really expensive like country houses for literal people who were on the boards of Lockheed Martin. It's like I just talking to the guy as we're like, he's like, can you put a door here? It's like, no, that's a load bearing wall. I can't do that. Well, can you? It's like, no, I can't. That's not how that's struck. That's not how that works.
But I'm not saying that the elite are these all powerful, incorruptible beings. Like
the point I'm making is the reason that these retarded little middle class frat bro upper middle class and 1% douchebags are angry is not because they had no problem with the society fucking over the blue collar, fucking over the middle class. It's that it's now affecting them personally. So those people will be the first against the wall because we do not need them. They are not needed, and they are the first against the wall.
Which is why you need a counter elite to replace that elite.
You don't need.
Why? Because you're what? So what? Then what? When the glorious revolution happens, what role are you going to take in society?
Oh, I don't care what comes afterwards. I don't.
You want just to tear it down?
No, I just want to be left alone. I want to be left alone to run my.
So for you, it wouldn't sure, you might complain about certain things here and there, but you're kind of one of the guys. Then, if we lived under any form of governmental system, as long as it was competent, you really wouldn't care. As long as your base standards of like kind of life and prosperity are preserved.
I'm not going to let my morals come. I would have no problem having a lower standard of living in what Gene Bones said, having a functioning poor society. I do not. I would prefer that to a dysfunctional rich society. North Korea is a functioning poor society. America is a rich, dysfunctional society. Northern Europe is a dysfunctional rich society. Japan,
and what makes a society functioning or not?
Oh, you just have to look at something called birth rates. If people aren't having kids, it's dysfunctional.
And then how do you promote increased birth rate?
Very, very simple. You jail people who are far left weirdos, and you get rid of antisocial elements.
So
And you
you'd
don't.
want so you'd want an elite class then, or a group that would
No,
implement those policies.
no, I don't view. See, there's a difference between nobility and being an elite. Someone like Nick Alexander the Great, who's on the front lines with his troops, is a member of the nobility. Someone
Well,
like
you'd want a warrior elite then, a warrior class elite, as opposed to the sort of mercantile elite that we have now.
whatever. You and your
Well, do you have to have elites to have a functioning society?
Yeah, you actually need someone who's in charge ultimately.
Do
But
you need so you need hierarchy?
I'm not against hierarchy. I'm simply saying the idea that this idea that's like the idea that the reason that people like Scott Queer, and I really fucking hate Scott Queer and all of these fucks. I hate all of them.
I don't know
Okay,
who's Scott Queer. That's his
Scott
name?
Queer. He used to be Nick
Oh.
Fuentes' ball washer. Now he's Bronze Age Pervert's ball washer.
Yeah, but I never liked Bronze Age Pervert
I don't either.
Fuentes.
Well, I don't personally like Fuentes because Fuentes is a Mexican homosexual and Bronze Age Pervert is a Romanian homosexual. I also don't like Nima Parvini because he's not white. I don't listen to non-whites about politics.
Oh, the Persians aren't white
yes.
enough?
No, they're a different ethnic group. It's a functioning civilization, but it's not a European civilization. It's an Indo-Iranian civilization that a lot of that was destroyed by violent subhumanism.
Well, let me know what you think of this though, as kind of a not a counterpoint per se, but kind of as a theory. Because I mean I do believe in the importance of racial homogeneity and all that kind of stuff too as well, right? But in a way, I find Parvini's I find his sort of comments insightful because he is of sort of a mixed heritage. I do find that he is able to kind of look outside of the society that he currently resides in and offer poignant criticisms.
No, I used to fuck with him on my old Twitter account and just keep calling him a mongoloid. He got very pissed off. I've actually got blocked by a lot of those guys. So Twitter is only for verbally abusing people you disagree with, and that is it.
I mean, Twitter doesn't really serve much of a function for me at this point.
Well,
I feel like I spent half my time there blocking like porn bots and
I spent half my time blocking Indian bots and clearly left-wing bots. And I do like telling the white guys from Harris, what are you doing outside of Robert O'Neill's basement? That is still the single funniest thing I think that's ever been said by someone on the right, is that I'm going to literally ass rape you. It's like if society.
Oh, is that the Grok thing?
Yeah, the Grok thing's like this is like. I mean, look, it's kind of gay, but it's gay as shit. But I will say something: if you filmed yourself ass raping someone, no one is respecting that person ever again. I'm sorry, but a man who's been ass raped has been severely. There is actually some truth to the idea of buck breaking someone, but it's still really fucking gay. Really gay. Sorry if I'm being weird, nation.
No, it's fine. So you we're kind of on the internet, so in that vein, what do you think of the AI developments?
I've been messing around with a lot of it, and my ultimate thought on AI is it's useful to an extent, but it's heavily oversold. It is very in its early stages of development. I give it another 50 to 60 years before it's actually useful and actually not just like it's. And also, one of the problems is AI pulls from incorrect information like Reddit, Wikipedia, and shit that's just inaccurate. So the information it's giving you is inaccurate to begin with. So you can't actually have something that's a data set that has wrong data, like erase an IQ. It's just like it will give you incorrect data.
Well, it's funny. I was trying to do some research on an article I was writing, and I was asking because Grok's just the go-to one that I have like most access to, and it provided me like a source of a certain church council I had never heard of before. So I went to Google and Brave and DuckDuckGo to try to kind of find, like a Wikipedia page or something that kind of references council. And I found nothing. So then I go to Google's Gemini, and I'm like, hey, did this council exist? What happened? Blah, blah. And it said, well, yes, it did. And here's a link to these 3 books that reference it. So I went to Anna's archive, downloaded the books, and lo and behold, I was able to like corroborate what Grok had originally told me. So for things like that, for finding like really obscure pieces of information that that you can't even find on like say Google or something, right? You'd have to be sort of a specialist in a specific field to know these sources exist. And so to kind of to present that to me, I was very sort of impressed with what it was able to do. But as I said, all AI at the end of the day is just a glorified sorting machine, honestly.
Well, yeah, I mean, like you just have to know how to use Google better. You just like you could make a better search engine. Look back when I still
no, like Google, even DuckDuckGo and even Bing, right? They're all garbage now. They're all inundated with ads and SEO and manipulation that way.
That's the G-ification of code.
Well, also, sure. Well, that's one part, just incompetence, but also it's also because they stack the search results to present what like, the companies want you to see.
It's Indians,
it can be both. It can both be malicious.
No, it's just Indians. It's just Indians. It's not.
It can be both malicious. Come on, oh, you think? No, really? You think Google would want to would provide for me like anti-Islamic sources or racist sources? Well, come on, yeah, they deliberately like.
Well, yeah, that's Indians aside now. Well, it's Indians, of course. Like a white man would never put that into code. No self-respecting white man would code that way. Look at Yandex.
There are a lot of white men who don't respect themselves.
Well,
I like Yandex for like image searching and stuff. Like I'll find a small kind of garbage image on X, and I'll use the reverse image search because it's better than Google's.
You see, Yandex still works because it was coded by Russians, and Russians actually know how to code.
Oh, and also because in regards to censorship, they don't care about English censorship.
Yeah, they don't. No. Well, don't. Yeah. Well, also the whole thing. You know what I always thought about H-1Bs is I gave this a lot of thought. They're not actually like you could get Russians on the cheap as well. There's a lot of actual computer science majors in Russia and Eastern Europe. You could get them just as cheap as the Indians. But I think the issue is they actually have self-respect and they'll tell you to fuck yourself. I think it's more just like they like the servile nature of the Indian more than it's not even about the money. It's the servile nature of the Indian.
Well, and on that vein too, apparently on Null's podcast, excuse me, he was apparently now in like some hotels in Miami. You go to check in and you're presented with a screen and you check in digitally with an Indian who's like in India.
Yeah. See, like I would hit that. Like, see, if I did that, I would come back to the front desk in a ski mask and smash the thing with a sledgehammer and set it on fire.
It's like, geez, you can't hire like, you can't hire. It's just.
Well, it's like I say. Hold on, in nation. Let me just pull it up. Hold on. J.D. Vance wedding.
Oh yeah, the Hindu wedding where he's wearing the dot.
Yeah. This is why I laugh at people when they say J.D. Vance is a Catholic. No, he is converted to Hinduism. He is a Hindu. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like J.D. Vance and Trump literally picked a Hindu. Like people don't understand, but the Hindus are literally convinced have been infiltrating the West, and we're gonna have to deal with the Q.
Well, it's because. Yeah, it's because like the Indians, a vast majority of them speak English, and they're kind of good at rudimentary skills, like rudimentary.
Well, it's not even that. So do Germans. So do Estonians. So do well, actually, surprisingly.
Yeah, but they want a new like slave caste, basically.
Oh yeah, that is true. Why can't we just get it? Why can't we just get massive amounts of like Russians and Estonians? Well, not Estonians. Estonians look fucking weird. They look fucking weird. No Finns either. No Finns because they look weird. They're not like ugly. They just look fucking weird.
Sure. But like, because you're not gonna jerk around. I mean, same with like the Chinese, right? Like, and also because China is kind of like an adversary too right now, and blah blah blah, right? But you're not gonna bring in sort of like high IQ, self-respecting people. to do these menial jobs. Whereas in India, no offense, right? Like India is a hellhole.
Well,
Like,
no, they're not. You know, I was in a space arguing with an Indian, and they're not even people really. Like they really aren't even human beings. Like I don't even think there's any soul there. They are literally a godless people.
I don't for a second blame an Indian for
No, I
wanting to
do.
come to the
No,
West. No. Like compared to like the conditions they live in, it's like no kidding. Like like Detroit is like paradise to them compared to like their homeland. Like so, I get why they want to be here, but like sorry guys, like you have to stay because we don't want the Indiaification
and
of our
this is why
countries.
nation will become the next Canadian Hitler. I'm sorry, you all you're not whites. You have to leave it. Sorry, dude. Do apologize.
Well, some interesting things have happened actually recently on that front. There's a new organization that's formed. It's called the Dominion Society, and they're promoting remigration rather.
Yeah, well,
and I mean, I don't know, like and I'm kind of skeptical of.
What are the thoughts on Adolf Hitler?
On their thoughts? No. Here's the deal, right? Look, I don't care what people think about Adolf Hitler or democracy or monarchy or all these kinds of things, right?
It's ultimate important question, nation.
Because if it's a one ticket issue, right? If they're just the re-immigration group, that's all they need to be. Like that's all and that's the thing, right? Like I told you about this. I tried to join what was it? Was it It wasn't Vanguard. It was the identity movement, identitarian or whatever, right? Like the Canadian branch of the identitarian thing, right? And I forget what was their thing. It was sort of like Western pride. It wasn't really racial, although there were kind of some racial undertones. But it's mostly like a pro-Western kind of civilization group, right? Generation Identity.
Yeah. I got kicked out of Generation Identity for verbally abusing the leadership.
Sure. So I want to join up, right? And the person it was like through Discord or something, and the person there who's going to on-road me, he had an image of his profile was of what's his face? Rockwell, right? And it's like, I'm not offended by that. I don't care, right? But if you're trying to have this kind of, one issue kind of respectable group,
fuck respectability.
It's not. You talk about appealing to the masses, and then you're like, oh, well, screw respectability.
Well, no, respectability. Respectability from the you don't. Rockwell's right when he says, "Okay, I'm going to put the swastika on the flag." Why? Because if people are willing to march behind that, I want those people. The people who aren't, fuck them.
Yeah, but I'm saying that in this era at this time, that's not gonna bode well for the longevity of any kind of group.
Did you see that Jubilee thing where people are just Zoomers are just openly declaring themselves fascists? I think we're way past the time for arguments have passed. The time for respect.
Yeah, but Zoomers have no political power. No, like okay.
Well, yeah, that's because they're following Mexicans like Nick Fuentes, not like people like me.
Let me propose this to you, right? You have two political parties, right? One says, okay, hey, we're gonna ban all immigration. We're gonna deport all foreigners, regardless of citizenship. And we're gonna be the pro-white party, right? And they're dressed up in American patriotic symbols, right? Then you have a second, and let's say this party has 70% of popular kind of white voter interest, right? Then you have another party who has the exact same policy, but they have a swastika, and they have 5% popular support. Who do you support?
I'm voting for the swastika party.
And that's why you lose.
No. I will always vote for the party that will fix the overall problem, because you will still just eventually end up back with the problem. It's like when people say nationalism falls, like, fuck.
Yeah, but here, if you're on a sinking ship, I mean, yes, at some point you do have to patch the hole, but you have to think and get the water out first before you can patch the hole, or have someone try to patch it while you're bailing the water out.
I don't believe in half measures.
But it's not a half measure if you win. If you get a policy that's objectively what you want and what you need, that's still a win. And then once it's like the Roe v. Wade stuff, right? Okay, cool. So that gets banned. Now you have to capitalize on that victory and then push for a federal ban. You can't immediately push for a federal ban because that's too extreme at that time. You have to normalize the intermediate steps before you get to that point.
No, I get what you're saying, but I still like the point I'm making is if someone said Hitler's a bad guy, which then you're accepting the post World War II order, so it's impossible that people can very easily argue against you. I reject the entire post World War II order.
But there's a difference between no, and I agree with you, but there's a difference. But I'm sure the Homeland guys probably have some very fine opinions of Hitler. Like I'm sure they're probably not like complaining about whatever those kinds of things, right? But for what they're trying to accomplish, resorting to that kind of symbology is going to only shoot them in the foot, and then they will get declared a hate group and banned, and probably get their members arrested.
Based. Getting arrested in the name of your beliefs is based in red pill. So
yes, it is. Yes, it is. But you also don't go around deliberately getting yourself like.
They're gonna declare you a hate group regardless of what you do. So you might as well.
But then what do you accomplish in the end? Oh well, look, the swastika boys got all arrested. Now what does that accomplish?
What does that accomplish? You delegitimize the system because it can break no criticism. Liberal democracy is inherently illegitimate.
But in the views of like 99.9, well, okay, let's say 80% of the people, right, and of all the ruling class, you have a swastika, you immediately delegitimize yourself.
I don't care.
It's like whenever there's like a shooting, in the States, like a racially motivated shooting by like a white perpetrator. Like, oh well, this guy was anti-immigration or anti-brown. They're
not people.
And then we're gonna then the leaders are always like, oh yeah, well we're gonna double down on.
Okay, cool. Then the shootings will continue until they stop. Do you think the IRA cared about how many people they killed?
Yeah, but the IRA had kind of more going for it. They had more of the population behind them. They could instigate more of.
Okay, what about the Taliban? You think they don't shoot large amounts of people? They do. They blow people to bits.
Yeah, but that's the difference between having a terrorist organization, I'm not saying that derogatory. I'm just saying, right? That's what they were, both those groups. There's a difference between having an organization with backing behind you versus a guy who's usually on SSRIs and mentally ill shooting up a synagogue.
Well, that's
one group accomplished.
Wait, that's completely pointless. That is pointless because those people hold zero political power. They hold zero.
Sure, but that's usually what happens in the States. Is usually some guy who's usually mentally ill. He shoots up a supermarket or a synagogue or a Sikh temple, and it's
I can't fault someone for shooting up a Sikh temple. Those are disgusting and an eyesore. So.
But what I'm saying is that in terms of actually enacting political,
well, no, terrorism, violence does work. It actually 100% works. Is the most effective form of political change. The idea it's not.
Yeah, when it's organized.
Well, it's not even when it's organized. It depends. It depends on what.
The thing is, right? Every time there's a shooting or something bad that happens in both Canada or the U.S., right? But one of my biggest fears is okay. So now, the things that I've posted online and I've said, even though the things I say aren't really that inflammatory, are those going to bounce back and bite me? Because some of the things I said are somewhat similar to the views of this guy who's committed this, this heinous action.
I mean,
right?
I hope, I'm really, nation, this may sound fucked up, but I hope what I say inspires people to kill my political enemies. I do not care if someone took a podcast and had it on the phone and they decided to, but only if you're actually capable of doing it to people who with actual legitimate political power and legitimate political targets. Random civilians are not legitimate political targets. It may make you feel better, but ultimately you're doing nothing.
Well, and that's what the vast majority of people who act in that way seem to accomplish.
Luigi Mangione did that. That was an actual effective thing he did. That was effective. It made the
and he was a leftist.
Well, no, he was definitely right wing. You read his writings; it's right wing. He was right wing, and just like the guy who shot all those CEOs of BlackRock's, Blackstone. He's He just went to the NFL. It's like bullshit. That guy was probably pissed off because he was like some sort of Blasian. He looked like half black, half Asian. He probably got out of college, couldn't buy a house. It's like, hey, these people are fucking me. Time to take some street justice to the CEOs of Blackstone. And you know what? I don't feel bad for those people's families. I don't feel bad for the woman who got a bullet in her face, who was literally responsible for making housing unaffordable. She's in hell. She's in hell with the other guy.
Well, to quote the famous Ethan Ralph of the illustrious Killstream, I don't think I can co-sign that. But
well, you know, to quote the great revolutionary Vladimir Bronstein, the workers have nothing to lose but their chains.
That was Marx.
Okay, sorry. I thought
Bronstein, or as he's known, Tolstoy, or I should say Tolstoy. Jeez, Trotsky. No, Trotsky.
Lenin. No, I would say Vladimir Lenin. His actual name is Vladimir Bronstein.
Wasn't Trotsky Bronstein?
No, Trotsky is Leon Trotsky. Trotsky is a Jewish last name.
I'm pretty... Okay, well, never mind then. Well, Lenin, wasn't it Trotsky wanted the eternal revolution, a constant form of global revolution until everything was equalized?
Pretty much.
Although, to be fair, Trotsky was a better follower of Lenin than Stalin was.
Yeah, actually, that's funny. Trotskyism doesn't even really exist. It's just something Stalin made up.
Well, it became the neocons, really. They changed the ideology, but they kept all the tactics and
they really did. And really, the neoliberals have the roots in Fabianism, really.
Yeah, no, I see that. The Malthusianism and all that.
Yeah, I mean, there's literally. I mean, we're not gonna get into that. It's always an argument.
About what?
I was gonna bring up Russia, but every time we get into it, I say that Putin is a Stalinist and just Eastern globalism. Then we get into at least a 40-minute argument. So I'm just avoiding the unnecessary argument. So, as always, this podcast has no actual direction, and that's mainly my fault.
Well, no. I mean, we started on the technology stuff, and there's nothing wrong with it branching and hitting as long as the conversation is interesting. I think as long as the conversation is going on, it's interesting, or else it wouldn't be able to sustain itself.
Yeah. Well, yeah, something. But you know, one thing I do want to talk about is just there's always this retarded Twitter drama which I ignore, but I've noticed like the people like Nick Fuentes and like these like feminists like. These people aren't really traditionalists. It's really just kind of like a low form of antisocial behavior. Like if you look at it, I disagree with the glorious leader of Kiwi Farms, Josh, about some of his views, but he's ultimately right that this like whole weirdly like incel like weirdos like they're just off-putting.
Well, I think same with like gays and all that stuff, right? Like a huge issue with them and trannies too as well. But they make their whole like kind of sexual life or sexual existence their defining trait. So it's not like I mean there are more issues with gays and trannies too as well, right? But like one of the most off-putting things is that their entire identity is defined by their kind of sexual existence, and no like kind of sane normal person does that. Like I'm not defined by like. By that, right? So why should these other groups do?
Well, if we ever got popular enough, someone would probably claim that nation is an incel, even though you're married with kids. Fucking look at this incel over here. So it's like that makes no sense.
It's like I remember, right? Before it was incels, it was forever alone.
Yeah,
and there was like a Reddit on that, right? And then the incel thing kind of took that apart. Like I don't know, like people who define themselves based on these kinds of like qualities.
They're just like most incels are just brown men. They're all just as people would call them ricocels. They're just angry, mainly Indians, but Asians that no one wants to sleep with them because they're on the low. Because Asians are sexless people. They're very odd. They become a broken, sexless people. But Indians.
But anyways, like the whole incel thing. It's like I don't know, man. It's like I don't know what that accomplishes.
Nothing.
politically or
Nothing.
otherwise.
Nothing. Like the same thing with like people like Nick Fuentes. The reason people like Nick Fuentes don't accomplish anything was one, Nick was compromised after January 6th. But two, like, you know, Tucker Carlson really said it the best. He's just some weird little gay kid.
Yeah.
And he's like in his mom's basement, he's like, oh, you know, but the thing is, hold on. I actually let me just pull that video up because I have it queued up. Because this was an argument I got. I forgot I did this. I got this like long argument with Nick Fuentes a few years back. It went viral on Twitter, but no one fucking linked this channel. Which, sadly, we see Nation. No matter what I do, I get no respect. We get no. I don't really care. I just like, you know what? I demand hundreds of millions of views. Like, if I'm going to verbally abuse Nick Fuentes for 5 minutes and call him a faggot, That's a hilarious picture, Nation. Actually, I don't know what that is a great picture.
I just don't really get what, I don't know, like Fuentes. He's just this kind of. He's just this like. I don't know. Nothing he says is actionable, really.
Okay.
Yeah, my life is awesome, bro.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's true. Your life, you're gonna go bang on nails, and you're laughing at my.
I mean, I'm getting an education. I'm doing shit.
What are you getting in it? Where are you getting an education?
I mean, I
to go to community college.
Okay.
Oh no! Because it goes to
this whole time, I think
I have one more question. So
Okay.
you know, you're shitting on the nail bangers, the fucking blue collar, right?
Yeah, right.
So you're trying to appeal to these people. What are you gonna say?
I'm
What if
trying to
somebody clips
appeal.
this?
I'm trying to appeal to rich people, actually.
I thought you were trying to appeal to the
my fellow
masses.
rich people. I'm an elitist.
All right. Richard
Yeah.
Spencer.
So I just put
yeah,
random
kind of.
things in this.
All right, I actually got to go bang some nails. So just finish up that point, Catboy.
Yeah, one last jab before you go. Work with your hands. See,
Yeah.
one day maybe you could get an education. You could work with your.
I don't know
Well,
why.
I'm getting an education, and I am working with my hands. You've never worked with
you?
your hands in your life. You fucking
That's true.
sit around,
That's true, 'cause I'm a
fucking
genius.
eat a
You
bunch of
could if
fucking
you would.
McDonald's and
You
shit.
would if you
live
could.
you live
You
a
would
terrible
if
life.
you could. You
I
would
really
if you
wouldn't.
could.
You know,
You would if you
it's called
could.
being a man, Nick. You'll never know about that.
I like being poor.
I thought
being poor is manly. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I'm not
You-
poor. Like, it's
Yeah.
just cheaper to do it this way.
Yeah, just go to work, buddy. Yeah, you got to go.
I
to
will
work.
go to work, bitch.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
I don't see how that's an own. Like, every single functional member of society works. Except,
Yeah.
well, you're not functional, so, you know.
True. I'm dysfunctional. But you told me you've never.
That's supposed to be an
had
own?
You've never.
Is
worked
that
with your
supposed to be an
hands in
own?
your life.
I'd rather be a functional member of society than be you, Nick. And that's just the truth.
and I stand by everything I said in that
Well,
state.
It's like, okay, look, like there's nothing wrong with being working class or being
But I'm
like,
not,
super
though.
wealthy. No, but
I'm
I'm just saying, right? And it's what you use your skills and your resources to accomplish. And what has Nick accomplished? So it's
No.
he's a millionaire. He's done all this stuff and blah blah blah. What's he actually like tangibly accomplished? I mean, a lot of people like know him, but most people who know him like despise him. You know, both on the right and the center and the left, right? And he's not.
Where he's been successfully assaulted by he maced an old Jewish woman, got a bunch of his supporters arrested that now have felonies, sank the political careers of Paul Gozer, destroyed the reputation of Michelle Malkin, tarnished the right by making it look like it's a bunch of antisocial weirdos.
Well, and that's true. Like, who has actually benefited from associating socially or politically with Nick Fuentes?
No one. A lot of some of his supporters got their asses. Got the dumpers pumped by adult men like Ali Alexander.
Ali Jamal or whatever. It's like, and that's the thing, right? Like, okay, say what you like about Academic Age and whatever, right? But he's interviewed and he's had people on his show and such and talked to people who have been, he's helped the careers of a lot of people on the dissident right. And a lot of people who, on certain instances are more insightful than him. So he's been a good sort of springboard to other kind of people who have an effect. Whereas anyone who Fuentes talks to, it's like,
Yeah,
You know,
well,
it's a
well,
void.
well, people, Tucker said this weird little gay kid, and Tucker is full of it too. But
No,
so
no,
is
I have issues with Tucker too, right? But he has been, again, he's been more interesting in this last little while.
well,
Again, for him it's more self-serving because again he's of a more of an elite class and he's trying to protect his own kind of people and himself. But I mean, through that process or through that, he has still he's done good stuff on the Epstein
Well-
stuff. Everything he does with Martyr Made is pretty decent. So it's like
well, one of the things that the difference is people always forget about this, but leftists actually did try to murder Tucker Carlson's family. That actually happened, I think, like 2019.
Well, and he also has a family too as well. Unlike Fuentes, who wants to marry a 16-year-old when he's 45 or something like. Didn't he say something like that?
He's like,
He's like he
25.
said weird pedo-y stuff. But again, though, it's just because he the idea of him being with a woman is so disgusting to him that he
it's like the BAP sphere and the gropers, as I like to call them, fighting with each other. It's like, look, you're both a bunch of closeted gay men. Just meet up on Grindr and fuck already.
Jeez.
It's just a bunch of. It's just like, I'm sorry that this nation with the fake sound effects.
Of course.
The sound effects of screaming children. We all know no one's married on the right.
Well, of course, I'm a groiper, so I would never get married to a woman.
Yeah, having sex with women's kind of gay.
Oh, it is, yes.
And
the thing is, right? Being gay married is not gay because if you and your partner are gay, it cancels it out. But if you're with a woman, exactly. That was his logic right there,
Like the whole thing with Nick, he's just a fag. I mean, and also apparently he sucked Destiny's cock. So
I mean, I don't know if that's been like 100% verified. When the Kino Casino, no, when the Kino Casino covered it, it was like Fuentes was saying, "Oh yeah, no, I've watched the video like 53 times, and I can definitely promise you that it wasn't my penis." It's like, okay, well, firstly, well, you have to watch it. Just say, yeah, no, that never happened. I don't care. But like, I don't know, just the way he tried to cover was very, very suspect.
Well, yeah, remember when he got caught watching tranny porn? What's with tranny porn? Like, even when I still looked at porn, anytime there was like a woman with that showed up, like, stop, do not recommend. I just don't see the point.
I remember when those were called the she-males.
No, I think the term was fuda.
Like,
fudas.
That's the Japanese thing, I think.
Okay.
But no, but like I remember those were called like because people would like talk about it at school and stuff. It's like the she-male, right? And then it became transgender. It's like, oh, okay, whatever. Like I don't know. I don't know. Same with Alex Jones too as well. Like he's been caught with like, ugh. Anyways,
well, what is with all of these people and like the obsession with trannies? Man,
I don't know. There's probably some. I could probably read something interesting on the right that would kind of go into the psychology of it. But it's like I don't really care to. Like what is that going to benefit me?
I don't know. The point is, like, as soon as we have the actual magazine, we need to have some massive scandal. Like, what's some scandals we could get ourselves involved with for the future?
I mean, only the things I've put online, but.
I knew it, Nation. We're gonna find out that you're secretly actually Indian. It's.
I don't know. Do I sound Indian?
No, not at all. You'd probably be like the most well assimilated Indian in Canada. You'd be like
Speaking of well assimilated Indians, let's talk about Mudahar.
Oh yeah, how he's a fake engineer.
Oh, like here's the deal, right? Okay, like I guess this is my big scandal, right? I really liked Mudahar. I would, I like deep web browsing. When I was a little, in my pre-racism days, right? Like I like Mudahar. He's Canadian. Quote unquote Canadian. He was the only Indian person I knew of. I was like, oh, okay, it's pretty cool. Even though he's like a Muslim and all that. But that it turned he's like scammer. It's like every single time. He lied about being an engineer. He lied about I thought he had a job, I thought he was successful and all this, but no, he's just like a YouTube guy, and
look, see, like,
whatever.
You need to stop supporting the inferior Mudahar and start watching the superior Luke Smith.
I love Luke Smith.
Oh yeah, he's not dead. Apparently, he did not end up in a
No, he
cartel.
made some videos recently.
Yeah,
They're very good.
Yeah, he's now like wandering around the woods, looking even more insane. He's looking more scruffy.
He's looking more Roosh-like. We're gonna lose him to like a monastery, which I don't want. You know, that Roosh is.
Wait, did Roosh join a monastery?
I don't know, but he's been. Is his like site still around?
No, it's not.
Like not even his forum?
Nah. He fully. I think he fully like just left the internet because he said it was unhealthy and.
I mean, I don't blame him honestly. Like even when you're trying to do positive things online, you get exposed to a lot of trash that's damaging.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, good for like as I said, right? Like good for him.
Yeah. What else were?
I did. You know what's funny though? I did read one of his books before he converted,
and that's how you found your wife. You used Bang as a.
Well, I pirated the book, but like as I said, right? Although lewd title aside, I mean it does have some interesting kind of whatever, But no, but then I did end up to make amends for my piracy. I did end up buying American Pilgrim. And that was a really good book. I enjoyed that because I really loved his road trip series. He went all through the U.S. and it was really really nice. But
Nation, you can come visit me in the U.S. if you want.
Don't have a passport.
Oh right, you'd probably be denied.
Yeah, I mean that is kind of a reason why I haven't pursued it yet.
Nation, if you do eventually end up getting charged with like 30 years in prison, you can now claim political asylum.
Yeah, but from prison, found out good that'll do me. Once you're in jail, they're not be like, you're.
You gotta see, Nation. I will come and break you out of Canadian prison. By that, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just here to transfer the prison. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. I'm here to just
pay my bail.
I'd be like, I'm sure. He's like, yeah, I'm just here to pick this guy up. He's supposed to be transferred to America. Really? Yeah, right here. Hey, okay. Can I help you with that? He's like, no problem. I could not imagine tough Canadian. Like, look, if Canadian immigration enforcement be like, I'm sorry, all you non-whites have to leave. You don't got to leave. I'm sorry. I do apologize, but you all have to go back. Sorry. Mm-hmm. I mean, you guys are like the notorious war criminals in both world wars. Canadian.
Hey, we're we have some pros and some cons, but we're pretty good when it comes to war. Don't push the Canadian too far, or you'll be sorry. Yeah, we'll make the whole world sorry. Jeez. Yeah, it's a good thing we never got nukes because we would have used them by now.
Yeah, Canada would be like, Canada would like call Russia. I'm sorry, we're starting a third minute. We're doing a first check. I do apologize. I'm just calling you to let you know they'll be there in about 5 minutes. You should think about.
Hey, we're sorry about Leningrad. Eh? Yeah, sorry about that. What can you do? I can't really do a Canadian accent or stereotypical. It's more really a Newfie accent, really.
Yeah, it really is only one part of Canada. Like a lot of I always get this thing with Canada, like we're not similar to the US. I was like, I was in Canada and I did not notice the difference between certain parts.
But if you're in Ontario, it's very similar. Like it is very Americanized.
Well, look, all Anglo civilizations are somewhat similar. We all come from the same.
They'd have to be, yeah.
Like I was a friend of mine's in Australia. He's like, we're just talking about things. I love Australians. Australia is actually the most like the United States. To be honest, like the closest thing to an American would be an Australian.
Well, more Western tradition, right? Yeah. And Western terms like Old West, like we kind of have that with Alberta and the prairies a bit, but
yeah. Well, all parts of the U.S. are different as well. So
yeah, no, exactly. So well, and that's why I defended Americans, because all the Europeans were like, "Oh, you stupid Americans don't have passports and don't travel." But like, you realize that the United States of America is basically 51 countries, and if
and we have all the climate zones. Like
Canada,
like Canada only has like 1 or 2 climate zones. You guys don't get like the tropics. We have something that's technically.
No, we kind of have the tropics. Like British Columbia is kind of like that. It's kind of temperate rainforest, and that's why it's called British Columbia, because it's like reminiscent of Columbia, not as hot, but equally as humid. And,
see, this is mild. What I've always said is that that all Anglo countries should just be we should end NATO and just have the Anglo mutual defense alliance rather than
but you have to deal with the Australian Aborigines.
Well, no, well,
or the Indians that we have
Well,
here. I don't know. It's
well,
like
well, we have Indians too. Like,
no, but I mean like
well,
dot Indians.
look,
And that's the thing, right? Like, despite my not wanting to be American, right? Like, if you think about it for just like 10 minutes, you don't want Canada to be part of the United States. You don't have to deal with like the millions of Indian immigrants we've imported here, or the
well, no,
Haitians, or all this kind of stuff.
I'm saying like I'm saying as a long-term goal, America should move towards rejecting other European countries and saying, yeah, well, our interests really don't align anyways. We're not even culturally.
Yeah, but like, how many Americans are of German descent, right? Like, isn't the entire Midwest German?
Yeah, but like the whole those people never. We kind of beat the German out of them after World War One, so that was pretty successful. So
yeah, but they're still
that no one really they don't
ethnically
really
so.
yeah, but like I don't know. You guys are pretty. I mean, half like good 20% of British DNA comes from Germans, the Angles.
Sure.
So, what's your point?
Well, I'm just saying that in America, it's not. There are ethnic distinctions in America, and it does kind of dictate
not
how
really
different states operate,
not really,
or their cultures, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, there's cultural influences, but the overall influence of most American society is English and Scottish. Really, there's German a lot of German and Italian influences, but that was much.
What about French? Now, I mean,
not at all.
No.
Like if you're in Louisiana, yes, Louisiana.
But I mean more like culturally and outlook wise, because I know like the founding fathers were kind of enamored with the French and French culture. It's because the French were also seen as like the pinnacle of Western like civilization and like society. So there were like attempts at emulating that.
Not really. Not really.
What was his face? Fat guy, light bulb, or fat guy in the key.
Well, he was just he liked the French like fashion, but other than fashion, French had very little influence on American culture. Like we never had like a lot of French immigration into the U.S. Like we also
but you did have a lot though with like Louisiana, and then there were other kind of French territories too as well. And you also got a lot of French from Quebec too. Like a lot of New England is of like French descent.
Yeah, well, we have a lot, but like there is parts of the U.S. that are heavily influenced by French culture, and that's Louisiana and those states.
Like in New England too. I mean, but the thing is, though, right? Like, I mean, more in terms of their political outlook, right? Because New England is fairly like liberal, but it's ethnically more homogeneous than the other states.
Yeah, but the whole thing is like the reason, like if you see like the reason I honestly think the reason the Great Lakes states are like that is because that was mainly Swedes. Weirdly, Swedes and Norwegians all settled there.
I think it's Minnesota. If you listen to it, because there was a time where I listened to I think every state anthem of the American states. The Alaskan one, complete banger. Like that's a fantastic anthem. But Minnesota has a very Scandinavian kind of feel to it when you listen to it. You should listen to it. It's kind of good. Like it'll bolster your American nationalism. It's kind of neat to see these things or hear these things.
Well, see, my whole thing is as a Pennsylvanian ultranationalist, we need to destroy Delaware because Delaware is rightfully Pennsylvanian.
You see, I don't really know the internecine kind of rivalries between the states.
Oh yeah, we fucking hate Delaware because at one point Delaware was like, if you look at Delaware, like that looks really stupid. That state is like, why does it look like this? Like it exists, so PA back in the day couldn't have a coastline and be a stronger state because there used to be a lot more interstate problems. Like back when we were real actual republic, we used to have interstate conflicts like constantly that would just like randomly go on of just like the states literally raising armies to fight each other. Like fuck you.
And that's kind of cool though. I wish Americans had more of a identity to their state than just the
we did. It was named Lincoln. You can blame
no, and I'm aware of that, mind you. I know, but it's just
like the right never has good ideas. One of the things that one of the things that one of my ideas for is that you would have a federal passport and a state passport. Like you can't, You can't just move states. You have to change your resident. If you want to, you'd actually have to live in a state for a certain amount of years before you can actually get residency. You can't just move.
Like assimilate, basically.
Yeah. So yeah, it would be harder to move. It wouldn't be harder. You could still drive around the U.S. all you want, but
But that would go against the freedom of movement clause in your constitution, though. I think.
no, no, it wouldn't. It would simply go under states' rights clause.
Well, you have to make the state's constitution above the federal constitution.
The federal government was never meant to do all of this shit. It was always Lincoln.
Oh,
Lincoln,
I mean, well, yeah, no, and you'd have to have a right to succeed too, because any kind of law passed by the state could be contingent on it being its own sovereign entity.
I mean, yeah, you should have a right to secede, but the whole
Well, I
thing
mean,
is,
that's what kind of legitimizes the power of a state over, say, the federal government.
well, here's the whole thing. It feels like America's balkanized. Like if America balkanized, the entire American economy would collapse. You don't want an American.
Well, and that's the thing with like Canada too, right? It's like our provinces actually have more kind of de jure power than the federal government, which is why you see our prime minister like constantly having meetings with the prime ministers, right? So they want to do like an oil pipeline thing through, I think it's like Alberta to Quebec, and like the Quebec government's like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. Well, and I mean, I think it's stupid. Like they should put the pipeline, but from the Quebecois perspective or the Quebecer thing, they don't want to further integrate Quebec into the Canadian economy. Like I think recently or not too long ago, like they just finally passed a law, all the provinces, where they can have free trade between them. And like it was funny, like if you lived on a border like town, let's say between Ontario and Quebec, and you had alcohol, you'd get pulled over by a cop and they could seize your alcohol because you weren't allowed to transport alcohol between provincial like lines.
Oh, you can't do that in the U.S. either.
Okay, like cool, right?
Yeah, different states have different tax rates.
It's okay, so it's a tax thing, but also too different provinces have different drinking ages as well. So I think Quebec's is slightly lower, and Ontario I think is 18.
We used to have that. Like weirdly, we have different ages of consent in the U.S. It's not 18. People think it's 18, but in PA,
I hear a lot of weird stuff too, and like you can also like there are weird laws where it's like okay, you can't travel across state lines to have sex with someone who wouldn't be of age in your own state.
yes.
So like it's weird, and but there are also kind of inverse laws where that is kind of I don't know. They're just weird kind of. I don't know. It's funny, but it's kind of cool though. It's like it's kind of like it's good that the states can kind of assert kind of some degree of like authority that way or sovereignty. But
yeah, people always get this idea. It's like the age of consent. Like the age of consent in my state is 16. It's like, well, it's like the Romeo and Juliet law. It's like no. How you actually no one actually the feels like it's like like no it's just 16 in PA. It's just 6 as long as you're not their priest, their counselor or related to them, it's just 16.
Like in Canada it's weird, at least when I was learning like sex education, it was in Ontario. So I think technically it's 16 in Canada, but if you're like say 18, you can't have sex with a 16-year-old because that's seen as like, power dynamics and pressure and blah blah blah, right? So it's kind of like weird where like so technically 16 can consent, but only with someone of like the same age more or less. So it's kind of like weird. It's a kind of a staggered kind of
well, yeah, in the majority of the US it's actually the age of consent is actually 16 and 16 to 18 in most of the US. Most of it's
what's Texas out of curiosity, because wouldn't that be 18? I was gonna say because that would seem more like
Yeah, it's 18 Texas. It's not even a blue state versus red state. It's just like something no one cares about.
And what about consanguinity laws?
I don't know what that means.
Like intermarriage, familial intermarriage.
Legal in West Virginia, but pretty much illegal in all 50 states.
So okay, this is kind of lolcow. So who's that broad who's like in a relationship with her father?
The Thorpe, Grace Thorpe.
Yeah. So is that legal where she is?
If she's in West Virginia, yeah.
That's a bit nuts.
West Virginia is also the only state where bestiality is legal as well. So it's a fucked up state. It's a bunch of hits.
West Virginia, you said.
Yeah. It's all 49.
Oh no,
states.
country roads take me home. No.
Yeah, that gives us an all new meaning. But you know what the funny thing is? Polygamy is a felony in all 50. Is a federal crime.
Makes sense, yeah.
It's
And
like
the poor Mormons. What about Utah?
Well, no, it's because of the Mormons.
No,
actually,
I know. I know.
It's because they call such a fucking problem. Like polygamy is now illegal.
And apparently a bunch of them went to Mexico because they were like, well, how dare you change the Holy Prophet Joseph Smith's proclamation? So a bunch of the polygamous Mormons went to Mexico.
Yeah. Sadly, I would never be Mormon because the only reason I'd ever be Mormon is if they went back to whites only, because that used to be like the law until like 1970s, just like whites only.
Well, also the thing with them is like the founding of Mormonism is very similar to the founding of Islam. There are far too many parallels there for me to kind of be down with that.
You don't think Jesus is a space alien?
No, definitely not a space alien. Because like I said, like if you define them as like a non-terrestrial being, okay, sure,
well, no,
I guess.
Jesus is on a like if you're a good Mormon,
yeah.
it's like that is fucking insane. It's like that's not even.
But you and I learned though, apparently a lot of Mormonism's like crazier beliefs were actually believed by certain like Christian Protestant sects in America. And then Joseph Smith just basically picked and choose what he liked, and then that's kind of what Mormonism became.
Look, America, people, yeah. Well, who do you think like got left Europe in the 1600s? It was all a bunch of psychotic Protestants.
No, exactly. Yeah. The most extreme or insular kind of communities. Yeah.
Look, somehow the Anabaptist movement became the Anabaptist became the Amish and the Mennonites. That's super weird. Those people were very violent and very psychotic.
No, they were. Yeah, no, they were. But then, they mellowed out. They basically realized they were on the losing side, so they just shut up.
No. See, look, that's why they're so insular. They're just going to try it again. They're going to try and insert another John of Leyden. They clearly have the line of Leyden, and it's conspiracy. That man, how would make a good fun conspiracy? But the Amish are secretly conspiring against America. They're playing the long game.
Like, I've usually had good relationships with like Amish people or more Mennonites. They're more Mennonites kind of that I've dealt with, but they do have an air where you can kind of tell that they see themselves as superior to you.
I mean, to be fair, like none of them have cancer. They're very nice people, so I think
yeah,
it's not really an non-earned form of superiority.
It's like I just wish we could convert them because it'd be like I would love to convert them, the Mormons. Or not the Mormons, all people, but the Mennonites. That'd be like kind of cool because they already have like these good insular communities, good family values, all this kind of stuff.
It's
like
funny.
I want them. I want them all. They will be mine.
This idea of like the return to the land guy getting busted, like being starring in porn. Yeah, that was at least it wasn't gay porn.
At least he wasn't what's his face, the guy with the beard.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what he talked. I know he's talking about because I knew like a big guy in the manosphere. He's like, yeah, that guy got busted for being a massive cock. He's like, no shit.
It's like the return. Okay, you know what? Was it with his wife at the very least?
What, the cuck holding guy?
No, not him, but the return to the land guy.
Yeah, that guy. The reason I never take this return to the land guy seriously.
Well, was it his wife or was he like a degenerate?
It was his wife. Yeah, he was just doing it for money.
Yeah. You see, that's like, again, I can't co-sign that, but I mean, it's like, well, I mean, it could be worse, I guess. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, like he could be going on. He could be getting his dumper pumped by a large amount of black guys like Nick Fuentes.
Is he a Christian?
I don't know. I don't really like look into these like weirdos and the return to the land types and these types of people because I would like if I did something like that, it would be by invite only and it would be like it would not be on the internet.
And that's kind of what I was thinking too, because I do like hear a lot about these groups, but they're usually like kind of hush hush. And then this group just kind of like, broke media containment and was, interviewed by like the BBC, I think, of all people, or of all like groups. So I don't know. It seems like a bad move. You should try to like not have any publicity and just kind of, because I mean, isn't what he's doing technically kind of illegal according to
No.
your civil rights laws?
No, it's only illegal if your private clubs are exempt.
So their community, their village is considered a private club?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, there's
I
a
mean, I
bunch.
don't know, like they're putting their money where their mouth is. They're trying to,
I got
make this
nothing against
community.
Against
But,
them personally, I just personally would never put anything like that on the internet.
Yeah, which again is bad. I mean, I don't know, it's hard to recruit, but
Ah, well, that's because everyone else is antisocial. I know at least 20 people who would be down for it. But one of them is kind of questionably white. We might have
I mean, like that, and that's the problem too, with it, because like on one hand, it's always hard to like do anything in real life, like have movements or try to have communities.
No, it's not.
Because it's always the fear of the Fed or of the Jewish.
FBI is actually really. I mean, I don't know why you would fear the ICMP, the Canadian like feds. Like you guys are probably really.
Well, they're not good at much, but they're pretty darn good at foiling hate groups or hate terrorist movements or whatever.
What are they actually good at it, or are they just saying they're good at it?
Well, there was apparently a group in Quebec City that was like a militia group or whatever, and they were planning to like do some things, and they all got busted. And they're probably gonna be away for like 15, 20 years at this rate. So
that's not,
like and there was a Montreal kid, and I think he was writing for Stormfront of the Daily Stormer, and he got arrested. I don't know what he wrote or what he said, but like. He's in prison.
Didn't you guys
now.
recently have that like a transgender neo-Nazi try to shoot something up?
Wasn't that? I think it was in Vermont. Was it?
Oh, was it Vermont? I thought it was in Canada. I thought that was recent.
Like, because he shot a Canadian. He shot an American like border crossing guard. I think they were trying to get to Canada or something. I don't know. It's just like it was a weird call, like an AI call, wasn't it?
No, that was a different thing. This was actually like a transgender like neo-Nazi. It's like, oh, I guess the Nick Fuentes ideologies come
transgender neo-Nazi. I just don't. As I said, Nazi. Like okay, you know what? Like, okay, you love Hitler, you love Stalin, you love these kinds of people. Then why would you like be the living antithesis of all these things these people valued? Like Hitler would gas you, Stalin would like kill you. You shoot you or go. Yeah, well, you'd be dead. Like you're not gonna be a tranny in Soviet Russia. Like, gee, I still get these. I don't know how they justify this. It's like, okay, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm your strongest soldier, Hitler. Like, come on, like, okay, you face the wall, buddy. Like, I don't.
Look, I don't try to make sense of it. Like, you have the gay Mexican leader of the white race. So the gay Mexican neo-Nazi leader Nick Fuentes.
But it's like at some point they must have like some kind of realization where it's like, yeah, no, maybe I should amend my views or amend my personality and not be this
I'll give you 5. I give like 2 years. Nick Fuentes to come out as a gay homosexual Mexican liberal. He's to be like a reformed, like he's to be like the talking head of Mexican homosexual liberalism. I mean, he nearly got killed by his former gay lover. That's what one of those pictures in that video is. It's his former gay lover that tried to shoot.
Camby?
No, it was this random guy who lived near Nick who nearly shot him in the face. Sadly, he missed, because it would have been.
It's like
I co-signed random.
It's too bad because, like,
yeah, it's too
about 80% of what Nick Fuentes says is just utter garbage and demoralizing trash. But then there's that 20% or 15% where because he did apparently a deep dive on Tucker Carlson and his connections, and apparently that was like a very informative, well researched stream, right? And it's like, okay, that's cool. Like, that's some
not Nick doing it. It's probably his assistant.
Sure, but I mean, if he's getting that kind of message out there, I mean, it's positive, but
it's ultimately negative because he's a federal.
Well, it's negative too because, like, I mean, I get that Nick would want to like lash out at Carlson because Carlson kind of insulted him and the like. But I mean, you know,
Well,
I would say
well,
Carlson's
well,
at least kind of
you-
doing positive things.
Well, the thing is, he never addressed anything Carlson said about him. He just said, "No, you."
Yeah, no, that's true.
It's like, oh yeah, well, I was like, you're literally a homosexual. That's all. Like Carlson should have Mullen just repeatedly called him gay. Like, just like you bring, like those like obnoxiously large like printed out pictures. He's just like, so what is this, Mr. Fuentes? So in the statement you said, and I quote, having sex
Yeah.
with women is homosexual, and you said, like, just bring
Well,
up all the
you know what his justification for that was, right?
what?
He said that having sex with women is gay in the context of like if you're sleeping around, you're just having sex to have sex. That's no better than like the gay guys who have like 50 million partners and like accomplish nothing. So I mean, but again though, right? You see, I would word that in a way that didn't make me sound like a homosexual. But for instance, it's like, oh, I don't know.
Well,
But he's also said things that were like kind of suspect, just about women. I don't know. Like he hates women, obviously. Like,
Well, yeah, he hates women. Look, I'm friends with Basil, and
which is like, hey, like like
Basil's gay, and Basil's like, how he hates women is like how gay all the gay guys I know hate. Like all gay guys I know, like the gay guys who are more normal, they hate women. Like gay, there's a lot of gay guys who just don't like who are gay because they hate women.
I mean, which psychologically makes sense given their disposition.
Yeah, like so. He hates women in a very, very homosexual way.
Well,
It's a very.
I think he probably hates his mother too, right? Because he's a test tube baby, right?
Yep, that is true. He is a test tube baby. And they couldn't even spit. If you're gonna have a test tube baby, you could have at least gotten like some white sperm. Not have it.
Well, no, wait. Does he not know his father then?
Yeah, his father's Mexican.
No, but like, is his mom married?
Yeah, to his father.
Oh, but but he is a product of his mother and his father, though, right? It was just artificially kind of done. Okay. Well.
Yeah. The thing that is a sin against God and nature.
No, I know, and I concur. Like that's not a good thing to do. I mean, the guy's alive, so I'm not saying that he
well no
should be made to not exist or anything. But it's like
he should be sent to conversion therapy to stop being gay. I will fully pay for Nick Fuentes to go to conversion therapy. Let's get a GoFundMe. Send Nick.
I think he has enough money, but I don't know. It's just like I don't know. Like if I had his platform and his resources,
yeah, everyone would be doing better things with Nick Fuentes' platform because he's pushed to the front because he's useless.
Do people still donate money to him? Does he still like make
a lot?
Bag?
Yeah, he does.
Really, even still, it's so like disheartening in a way. Because I know like what Cozy was bought it apparently, I thought most of his money came kind of during the first Trump presidency when he was like a Trump sycophant, right? So he had a lot of
he wasn't
guys supporting him.
He wasn't really as popular until like 2000.
Well, that was the only stream of his I listened to. I listened to him when I was in school, and he was doing. It was when Milo was. It was when Milo was. He wanted to go to Berkeley, and they burnt down Berkeley or something. And then Fuentes had a stream, so I kind of tuned into. And that's like the only thing by Fuentes I watched.
I used to watch him a lot, but he's always been kind of suspiciously homosexual. To be honest, the Catboy thing goes back years. I always thought it was
I mean, Murdoch made fun of that.
Yeah. Then they left.
Yeah,
that was the last episode.
Yeah, left on a high note. But like,
you should leave on a high note.
Yeah, no, it's true. But I don't know. It's just disheartening. I don't know. It's not disheartening, but it's like I don't know. It just sucks when like
I could make videos just like all the on the hating on the women, right. the hating on the women because the people watching that shit aren't even white. They're brown. It's all brown.
Well, I was talking to someone, right? More of a boomer kind of like person, right? And I was talking about like the Jews, right? And not in like an extremist kind of crazy way. And the guy was like, "Oh, that sounds like something Candace Owen would say. You don't listen to Candace Owen, do you?" And I'm like, "No, I don't listen to." But it's like the point is, right? Like I say something mildly critical of Israel or like Jewish power, and then they have like they bring out the boogie.
Nation, I will be right back. Keep talking.
Oof, that's hard to. Okay. Well, hello, chat. You have anything worthwhile to say? Well, my day. So I went to Costco today, and it was very interesting. I saw every shade and disposition of person. I really got to enjoy the diversity that our species has to offer. It was quite fascinating. Right now, I'm looking at. Oh, you they. Loyalist, please. I'm not good at monologuing. I need someone to bounce ideas off of. I know. Who wants to listen to Soviet marches? Let's see if I can accomplish that. I can't accomplish that because I'm not the one hosting the stream. I know. I'll read one of my articles, my most recent article on my site. Orthodox Christians do not worship the God of Muhammad. Relatively recently, Jay Dyer had a three-way debate on the merits of orthodoxy with Timothy Gordon and Aidan Mattis on Tim Pool's program. The debate itself was nothing spectacular. If one has watched any debate between Dyer and a Catholic or Orthodox, then one has watched this one. However, given how Pool's program has substantial audience, and how many people who follow Pool will probably have little familiarity with orthodoxy, I thought it worth listening to. Of all the subjects discussed, the relation of Islam to Catholicism was notable, albeit nothing I have not heard before. But this line of questioning from Dyer has seemed to touch a nerve, as the trend in online circles is now to debate whether the God of Christianity as a whole is that of Muhammad. Catholic apologists have seemingly accepted that the God of Roman Catholicism is that of Muhammad and Islam, as they probably should, as that is what their authoritative sources imply and state. But the plan, and this is from one of Catholicism's sources, but the plan of salvation also includes those who acknowledge the Creator. In the first place amongst these, there are the Muslims, who, professing to hold the faith of Abraham, along with us adore the one and merciful God, who on the last day will judge mankind. Pope John Paul II, the Pope who allegedly kissed a Quran, asked for St. John the Baptist to specifically protect Islam, as well as the people of the Jordan, during his visit to Wadi al-Kahara. In defense of Catholicism, Islam would not be seen as salvific. To Rome, Muslims may worship the same God as Catholics, but Muslims, like Protestants, are defective in their knowledge and worship of God, and therefore do not, normatively, attain to salvation in their faith. If Catholics wish to maintain that they more perfectly worship the God of Islam, that is ultimately their business. There are many commentators whom I follow and respect who have made the same claim, specifically Thomas 777. I also am not one to cast hate upon Islam in and of itself for no reason, as some Zionist Protestants do. In my work, I believe that I have been fair to Islam and Muslims, and although there are aspects of Islamic culture and custom I appreciate, as a whole I find the religion and its God abhorrent. If it is now the mainstream Catholic opinion that their God is that of Muhammad, that claim further estranges me from Rome. I say mainstream opinion, as I am willing to concede that modernist Catholicism is not that of the traditionalist Catholics. But if even they and their apologists now seemingly accept this teaching, arguing against it from a Catholic position, it therefore would seem moot. To defend the position of their church, Catholics have been claiming that we Orthodox share their view, being that Muslims as well as Jews are united together in our shared spiritual father, Abraham. I, however, have already made the argument that the Catholic God is not that of Orthodoxy, given Orthodoxy's understanding of the Trinity, the Father, and the divine energies. I have also demonstrated that it is impossible to amalgamate the Talmudic Jewish God with that of Orthodox Christianity. There is no God to which all the Abrahamic faiths are united by and worship. And the Orthodox Christian view is that Orthodoxy is the only faith which is authentically Abrahamic. Even without touching on metaphysics, it follows that if we are to believe that the God of Islam is the God of the Church, Muhammad would doubtless have would doubtless have to be a legitimate prophet of a kind. Although this is an oft-made statement, although I conceived of it years prior to my first seeing its use online, Muhammad has as much claim to being a prophet as Mormons do with Joseph Smith. In both Smith and Muhammad, we see a prophet who is visited by the archangel Saint Gabriel and delivers to them a unique, specific revelation regarding the nature of the true faith and its relation to a specific racial/national group. Both Mormonism and Islam teach that the message of Christ was corrupted. In Mormonism, it is sacred tradition that is lost, and in Islam, it is holy scripture. Thus, God's final revelation through Saint Gabriel is given to a specific ethnic group, a new chosen people, white Americans and Arabs, which are called to spread this new corrected religion to all peoples. Both religions also permit and even encourage polygamy, at least during the time of their founding. Both faiths venerate Jesus, although they have a faulty understanding of him. Mormons believe that Jesus is a spirit child of the Father, and that Satan is his brother. In Islam, Jesus is their most revered prophet, but Muhammad takes precedence as he is Allah's final prophet, and he was specifically sent to the Arabs. It is clear that both Islam and Mormonism rely upon Christianity to base their own theologies, upon which they both in turn reject Christianity and Christ himself, even as they claim to be his truest followers. To believe that the God of Islam is the God of orthodoxy is to recognize Muhammad as some form of prophet. Muhammad preached and slaughtered in the name of a God he claimed he learned of from the archangel Gabriel. If Muhammad could teach of the Orthodox God, he would, as the Quran claims, have received divine guidance. Yet no Christian group, to my knowledge, recognizes Muhammad as a prophet of the true faith. Despite what Rome may claim regarding Islam, they do not recognize Muhammad as a prophet or saint, and therefore we can say that Catholicism's view on Islam is confused and contradictory, which is good for Catholics who wish to deny they worship the God of Muhammad, even though no one online seems to want to do this. Essentially, a belief in a creator god or force is the criteria for one to honor and worship the God or worship God in Catholicism, as we can see with documents such as Nostra Aetate and its statements regarding Hinduism. If Rome says they share a god with Islam or even Hinduism, I'm willing to take their word for it. But it is also a statement I do not take seriously, as I do not think the Vatican is able to make such theologically groundbreaking pronouncements, for good or for ill, anymore. Now, Orthodox clergy have made statements that posit a commonality between Christianity and Islam. Patriarch Kirill, in his address to the Russia Islam Strategic Group, stated, "Faithful to our spiritual ideals, we can work together in opposing the sophisticated propaganda of individualism and the worship of the human being. Orthodox Christians and Muslims are called to uphold their moral values, live up to the ideas of good, love, mercy, justice, and mutual respect. We, Christians and Muslims, know and confess that God is the true creator of the world and the only lawmaker. Where God is forgotten, there evil reigns." Apparently, there was also an instance where, in a letter to Muslims, an Orthodox bishop from the Middle East used the Islamic address for Muhammad, peace be upon him, although I cannot find the source which claimed this. Unlike Catholicism, Orthodox Christians have lived amongst Muslims for centuries, be it as a result of Islamic conquest, the Greek and Arab churches, or the conquest of Christians, Russia. Orthodox Christians are far more familiar with Islam in praxis and doctrine than Catholics normatively are, which makes the statement above even less excusable than when Catholic leaders make similar statements. The heresy of ecumenism has touched many, and although the claims of the patriarch are erroneous, they do not supersede what the church has perennially taught. Prior to 1180 AD, the Church of Constantinople required Muslim converts to Orthodoxy to anathemize Islam by reciting this abjuration. "And above all, I anathemize the God of Muhammad, above whom he, Muhammad, said that this is one God, holosphyrus, made of solid metal, beaten to a spherical shape, who neither begot nor was begotten, and no one has been made like him. Thus, by anathematizing everything that I have stated, even Muhammad himself and his beaten solid God, and by renouncing them, I am siding with Christ, the only true God. The harshness of this anathema and a misunderstanding slash mistranslation of the Arabic term holosphiros proved to be a stumbling block for Muslims looking to enter the church. These converts were uncomfortable with condemning God in this way and being aware that a God, Holosphiros, is not God. The Emperor Manuel I Comnenus, seeking to alleviate this tension, participated in a synod at Constantinople in 1180. Therein, the emperor debated with the clergy, arguing that the condemnation of Muhammad's God should be removed from the abjuration. The emperor seemed to believe that such a condemnation would offend the true God, and thus it appears that Manuel I did believe that Christians and Muslims held in esteem the same God. The clergy did not maintain the emperor's belief and were uncompromising. Ultimately, the offending statement regarding the Holosphiros was removed and replaced with a further denunciation of Muhammad. Although the statement was changed, it was not condemned, and the practice of receiving converts is disciplinary and can change in accordance to the needs of the times and of the needs of the individuals. Although the God of Muhammad was no longer condemned explicitly, he was condemned implicitly by the condemnation of his prophet. Ultimately, the clergy of the church were victorious over the emperor, as even though they permitted the change of wording, the substance of the anathema remained, and the fundamental theological separation between orthodoxy and Islam remained. Shortly after the council, Emperor Manuel I was unable to expand upon or promote. Oh, sorry. Shortly after the council, Emperor Manuel I died, and thus was unable to expand upon or promote his theological notions. Some modern Orthodox claim that the Council of 1180 ultimately affirmed Muslims and Christians worship the same God, but this is clearly not the case. St. John Damascene described Islam as a heresy, and although some Orthodox fathers and saints have described Islam as being a similar, albeit perverted mutation of Christianity, ultimately it was known that they do not worship the Father, as so many Christians assume today they do. When Islam first came about, it would be forgivable and even charitable to believe that Muslims were simply misguided. But from the 800s onward, it was clear that they were utterly distinct from us. Furthermore, as a heretical body mutates and devolves as a result of being separated from grace, the deity of the heretics, although containing attributes of God, begin to gain other attributes as well. One can hold to erroneous views of God and still be an Orthodox Christian, just as it is possible for a heretic to worship God despite his heresy. Yet we arrive at an end where the qualities of the heretic's God are so distinct from God properly understood that we can say that they are differing beings. Just because a body worships a God that has attributes of the Trinity does not mean they worship the Trinity. Where the line is between an erroneous worship of God and the worship of a false God with the attributes of God can be difficult to differentiate, especially when a new heresy arises. However, we see in Islam a total rejection of Jesus as Son of God and the attribution of God of qualities we as Christians know he does not possess, including deception and the originator of evil. Just because Muslims maintain that Christians worship their God, it does not follow we must reciprocate this understanding. When Christian leaders of differing sects claim that they worship the same deity as the Muslims or the Jews, it provides another ecumenical link for separated Christian and renders Islam and Judaism as authoritative bodies upon which we can not only base our theologies but also achieve union. I would, of course, love to be united in faith with Roman Catholics, Arab Muslims, and Jews, but this can only be achieved through conversion, not ecclesial unions. As said prior, there are aspects of Islamic culture I appreciate, and I have learned much from Muslim writers, including René Guignon. But in regards to learning about my faith or theology more broadly, I can say that this has not been the case. The more we and our clergy affirm Muslims and their religious bodies in their error, the less inclined they will be to pursue Christ and his church. It is therefore an imperative that we are honest with those who do not share in worship of the true God and attempt to bring them to faith. I understand how in Russia or in the Middle East it is exceptionally difficult to maintain cordial how exceptionally difficult to maintain cordial relations between Orthodox Christians and Muslims, but ultimately ecumenical submission, which is what I think such claims about God are, betrays a level of weakness and uncertainty we have in our own beliefs. Loyalist, are you coming back?
Oh no, I've been back. I was just waiting for you to finish.
You could have interrupted me at any moment. Jeez, what do you think?
No, I just thought you wanted to finish.
No, I was at first I was like describing my day, but nothing really of import happened, and I was like looking around my room and trying to see if there's anything I could like discuss. And I was like, then I tried to find Soviet marching like bands so I could like play music. Then I can't play music, so I'm up to host.
Yeah, well, you know, I once told you need to host a podcast, and you and Nate totally failed at it.
I don't think I ever tried hosting a podcast.
Well, no, I told you. Yes, I told you. You, Nate, you got to host the podcast. I'm away. I'm busy this Saturday. You have to host it. You're like, oh, how do I do that? Neither you could figure it out.
Yeah, no, like I use Linux, man. Like, you want me to host a podcast on Linux? Wait, you see what Josh has to go through? Josh has to what? He has to like
Linux
Windows.
sucks. Linux fucking sucks. Everyone needs to stop pretending Linux is even a good operating system.
Hey. I'm saying if I wanted things to be easy in life, I would have made many different life decisions. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, you would have gotten a STEM degree like I'm getting, and not went to school for political science.
Are you doing STEM?
Yeah,
really?
I was, and I went back to school. I'll go back to school for STEM. I told you that. You know this. Like, do you not pay attention to any time we're talking?
No, I pay attention, but I mean, we've done this for how many years?
Oh man, it's been a while.
Because I thought all you did was like I knew you were at school at one point, but then I just thought you went to carpentry. It was more lucrative.
Both are pretty lucrative. I was doing that for a while. I was doing school and carpentry for a while. Then I dropped out. Then I had a lot of really bad depression for like 18 months.
What part of STEM were you into?
Engineering.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, it's in that argument.
You could have been. No, you should say you're an engineer then. Come on, Muda. Come on. You probably.
But I'm not though. I dropped out and only finished like a year and a half. So I'm not an engineer.
He dropped out and he calls himself an engineer.
But I'm not an engineer. I mean, I know how to, like, unlike Muda, I do know how to do structural engineering. I do know how to read blueprints and write up some like shop drawings. So yeah, I guess I kind of could technically call myself somewhat of a structural engineer.
Yeah. You do that. Put it on your business card, you know.
Yeah, but I'm getting my engineering degree because the company I work for, they're expanding and they need a in-house structural engineer, which means I got to.
If you can get them to pay for your school, go for it. That's like the best thing you can do.
Nation, I have high enough grades where it's just the academic scholarship. It's a full ride on academic scholarships in the U.S.
It's a bit different here. Also, it's different when you have need money too. But
well, you know
what a house for in Canada goes for? Jeez.
Yeah, $1 million because the Indians own all your housing. You know how? Well, yeah. We still have pretty cheap real estate in PA.
Yeah, no, and to be fair, there's cheap real estate here too as well. You just have to kind of find it.
Well, Nation, what you need to do is you need to buy up all the cheap real estate and become one of those landlord guys.
No, that is a smart move, but you have to first buy a house. So.
Oh, you don't own a house?
No.
I mean, I
had other priorities in my life.
Like moving out of Canada.
No, I'm gonna. Unless I'm forced to leave, I'm gonna stay.
How would you be forced to leave? You're gonna be banished? Are they gonna bring that back and banish all the racists out of Canada? You're banished to the U.S.
No, but I'm just saying that, like, like if things got kind of Bolshevik-y around here and things like started to go south, I'd have to leave. I'm not gonna like kill myself to stay here, that way if everything kind of goes south. But
So nation, if you like, say you were like streaming and like you were being arrested, make sure to turn on your webcam, because at that point we need to. Then I have to illegally enter Canada and break you out of prison.
I think again, God forbid that were to happen, I'm pretty sure my wife would arrange. I'd be like Jim, like my wife would post, yeah, no, this happened, or it'd be like news. I don't know.
No, I'd be like, I'd start all.
Were you like looking at like the CBC website, refreshing it every day during my absence?
Yeah, I was like,
You're like, oh,
yeah. It's like, is he arrested? It's like, because it's like, damn, because yeah, well, if you did get arrested, it's like, man, I need to start giving Sid go. I'll give him like half of it.
Yeah, at least 25%. I raised $400,000 for you. What do you mean? Oh yeah, here's your $50,000. Oh yeah, here's your $2,000. There you go.
Well, no, Nation, I get you the best. I get you the best. Lawyer
Jewish lawyer. Hey, it's got to be a Jew. I'm not paying for some goyish lawyer. I want like the best Jew there is, man.
Yeah. We're sending a Jewish lawyer to get you out of Canada. I mean, well, yeah. Well, after that, God, I try to make that international news, like Canadian journalist. I put Canadian
journalist. I don't think man, that's like calling me man, like what's better, being a journalist or a Satanist? I think man, don't call me a journalist. Call me something better than that.
Opinion columnist.
How about no, I'm not gonna write my own byline, but a journalist. Yeah, I guess I could be. I guess if you call me a journalist, I'll garner more sympathy. So
yeah,
I guess we can do that.
You garner more sympathy, and then but Trump tweets about this journalist, and then people just look.
I can't believe they would arrest this fantastic man. He's read so many like positive things about me. It's such a horrible thing. I can see that.
Yeah, well. Then I get to go on Tucker Carlson's show, and I'd be like, I would look, if you got arrested live on camera, I would milk the shit out of that.
Of course, I mean that would be,
that's just
you always have to you have to know where to profit, out of the situation.
Well, no, I don't care about money. It's just that
socially and otherwise.
Then I get to do the podcast circuit and verbally abuse Tucker Carlson for being an. I'm just gonna say all the things like, Tucker.
I'll be the new Gonzalo Lira.
Yeah, you will be the new Gonzalo. I actually, funny enough, I actually did talk to Coach Red Pill on several occasions. Like I actually talked to him.
Sadly, no, are you like the real Sonichu medallion?
No,
you're the real.
No, I am Coach Red Pill. You got me. I am Gonzalo Lira.
Did he wear a Sonichu medallion at one point?
No. I would never touch one of those.
Because I don't know, like Mudahar wore a Sonichu medallion.
Yeah.
And now look at him.
Yeah. I honestly think Kristen Weston Chandler, he did summon a Sumerian demon from hell.
I can. Is that because Sonichu sounds like a Sumerian?
Yeah, it does sound like a Sumerian demon. Chris was possessed by a Sumerian demon and is the Antichrist.
Honestly, I believe it.
I mean, I believe it. Like, I believe that Chris Weston Chandler is the Antichrist.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. No one's going to be worshiping him.
Well, they do, though. He does have a cult.
No, please, no. Really?
Yeah. There is a Kristen Weston Chandler cult. He did start a cult, and people do worship him as a prophet. That's funny. There's actually a lot of parallels between Nick Fuentes and Chris. Like if Chris was more,
that's great.
A bit more functional and charismatic, he could also have a cult.
Yeah, but if you're functional and charismatic, you would accomplish a lot of things without being a weird.
He also raped his own mother, so that's weird.
Yeah, that's pretty weird. Yeah, that's weird.
Fucking weird.
I can't co-sign that.
I don't think anybody can co-sign mother raping your mother. Maybe an Indian guy could.
I do not
Definitely.
want to know what they get up to.
Well, it's like
I just told you. I just told you. I do not want to know what they get up to. That's information I do not need to know.
uh,
I feel like my Trump impression's getting worse.
it's pretty good.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Because it doesn't sound like Trump, but it distinctly sounds like someone trying to beat Trump. Like it's basically all like what the people do, like all the comedians. They have like a Trump voice. It doesn't sound like Trump, but you can tell it's Trump. You know what I mean? I wonder if there's a term for that.
Yeah, Gillis's is actually very accurate. Like,
Who?
Shane Gillis actually does like a perfect Trump impression. Like,
Who? I heard a good Trump not too long ago, actually. I don't know by who though. Maybe it was that guy.
The other thing is that people aren't realizing, like, now that there's all that porn censorship on Steam with collective shout. It's like, I told people that you're like, oh, this anti-porn stuff, and like I told people they're gonna come for the creepy drawn CP lolicon, and then they're gonna keep expanding it out from there. It's like, we don't like that. It's like, oh, I don't, but I'm not stupid. I'm not stupid enough to set that.
That's the thing. Like, I don't mind that those things are gone. Like, man, like, imagine my shock. I'm like, oh, let's browse the Steam catalog one day. It's like all porn. I'm like, okay, geez, oof, they're like making like trillions of these things every day.
Well, it's yeah.
And anyways, but of course you block it, right? Like, as you should, like, because you can change your settings. But like when they first like open up the floodgates, I'm like, well, like, I mean, I'm glad they don't, I guess, limit, because there was a whole hatred thing, right? Hatred came out, they banned it, then Gabe Newell himself said, yeah, no, we're not gonna like ban stuff, that's stupid. And then shortly thereafter they kind of let all the porn on. And again, I was not really a fan of that, but it's kind of like, well, okay, at least they're, like, to the degree that a company can have principles, and at least they're kind of,
it wasn't even Steam's
keeping them,
it was
but
the payment processors. You know who runs all the credit card companies?
Yeah, the guy from Ireland.
Yeah, it's all these fucking Irishmen. The eternal mix strikes again. the eternal Athenian strikes again.
But what I was gonna say, it's like, I don't know, it's like it just sucks, right? Because they're a game, like there are games on Steam that are adult that aren't really, I don't know. There's like a weird line, right? It's kind of okay. What's the difference between like, a famous like statue, right, that has nudity versus like just rank pornography, right? Because like Cyberpunk 2077, right? I don't like how that handles like certain things, and you kind of have to do it to like complete certain quest lines. Like that was a bit like, okay, that's a bit stinking much. Or even Atomic Heart, right? And Atomic Heart 2 kind of looks like it's going kind of in those, and it's like, man, like I enjoyed Atomic Heart 1. It's like I don't want that in like.
What's Atomic Heart? Is that weird Russian like Fallout kind of?
Yeah,
game?
yeah. It was fun. Like I enjoyed it. I don't know if you'd like it, but just gameplay wise, I think it was fun.
You probably like
no.
Probably like Underrail. I'll be honest. Like you'd really like Underrail.
But you know what? I'm a fag because I can't get into CRPGs.
I thought I thought isn't Atomic Heart a CRPG?
Sorry? No, Atomic Heart. No, you're thinking of I know you're thinking of Adam, the RPG. No, Atomic Heart's a first-person shooter.
Oh.
No, but it's actually good. It's not like, yes, it's very. It has like.
What did you pick up? Did you pick up the Rogue? Did you pick up the Rogue Trader game? Was on sale though.
Dude, man, I've had no time to play anything. Like, just because I don't talk to you doesn't mean I'm free.
Oh. Oh,
nigga, I mean, I promise you, antebellum black slaves had more free time than I do at most times. So
Well, yeah, you have to take care of your. How many kids you have now? 5.
I'd be dead if I had that many at this point in my life. I think I'd be. I would not be able to sleep.
Oh, that's my friend.
No, I'm not,
5 kids.
I'm not saying that derogatory. I'm just saying it's like it's hard. It is effort. It's good, and I would like to have like a ton of kids like that. But like at this point right now, I could not handle that with everything I have going on right now. Anyways, but Atomic Heart is really good, and it's not like pro-Soviet. In fact, the ending kind of message of it is anti-communistic. It's actually a fantastic like little game. Like I was really impressed with it. Again, though, it has kind of like janky dialogue. I don't. It really does feel like a game from like 2008 to 2010, right? Where things were like more crass and kind of like, you know,
So it was written
sexy
by
in a way.
it was created by
But no,
Eastern Europeans.
no, yeah, no, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it is, right? But then they had the trailer for Atomic Heart 2, and it looks like they took like the sex appeal up to like another level. It's like, oh man, it's like I don't know if I want to. I don't know. It's like I don't know. I'm not a prude, but I also don't want to be playing pornographic kind of things as well. So it's like I don't know. Is there kind of like a I don't know. But then, as I was saying, right, it's like, yeah, I don't mind if the weird, like, lolly garbage rape games get banned. Like,
I do
They-
because
they get rid-
I do because it sets a dangerous precedent, and they're just going to keep expanding.
and that's what I was gonna say, right? So if they use that to take out a game like Cyberpunk 2077, which just says I don't like those elements of those games. I think it goes way too far for like no reason other than they can just do it, you know? Like, but I feel like games like that are gonna get, you know, wiped. And even what's that like horror game series? That's like technically adults only, but it's not pornographic. It just has nudity, I think, in it.
You've described a lot of horror games.
No, but it's not pornographic though. But it is like considered adults.
Look, I have like I cannot play horror games because I have
Sure. I don't know, but anyways, like that's the
mild
point, right? Like,
mild problems, and just say it fucks with that, so I don't play horror
oh
games.
well, yeah, no problem, right? But it's like I feel, anyways. But it's just like they'll what you're saying is true. Once they put in they get the crowbar in, they'll use it to like ban a bunch of things that no one would consider.
Yeah, and it was a bunch
objectionable.
of people from the Australian government pressuring them, a bunch of Australian cunts. Also, Australia, which means it's all Indians, because Australia now has a massive Indian problem.
More so or less so than Canada.
More so.
No, but it's usually. But the thing is, all right, it's usually like middle class white women who go against this stuff.
It was middle class white women.
Which again, like if I was like, you know, like yeah, if I'm a woman, I'm definitely gonna be even more so against pornography than I am as
you know,
like, a man,
maybe they
right?
should be in
Like-
maybe they should be against the mass importation of refugees.
I mean,
Which is-
people have particular issues that they feel most invested in, and I'm sure they're anti. I don't know. Like you can't have a group that does it all. I don't think, or else
Look,
you
I don't.
can't accomplish anything.
You know,
look at the
honestly,
GOP.
yeah, I mean, yeah, they're trying to do the same thing in the U.S. with the Child Protection Act because the trad cons are fucking retarded, and they're just dumb people.
What's the Child Protection Act?
It just makes it so you have to have you have to use for anything that's like an adult site, you have to have a ID, but this is just extremely vaguely defined.
But
like
yeah,
the-
like define adult site.
Just vaguely defined. It's just vague. It's
Yeah,
vague.
and that's
Like
the problem.
all U.S. bills that want to seize totalitarian power, like the Take It Down Act.
It's because like my website, right? I would consider my website like an adult site. Now, obviously, it's not like pornographic, but I mean, it's clearly meant for like adults.
No, see, Nick,
know?
GodKingNation.com, you gotta get the special code from Nation. It's $6,000 for the hardcore gay erotic orthodox themed pornography.
Man, even like contemplating something like that is like one of the most blasphemous things I can conceive of. That's like, well, what's the point of? I don't. It's like all these bots on Twitter too that do the same thing. These basically like porn like collectors, or I don't know. It's just weird.
Porn. Yeah, I know. One of my friends is like that.
Yeah,
Twitter
no.
feed is nothing
As I
but,
said, I
nothing-
blocked
nothing-
so many of these people, man.
Her Twitter feed is nothing but yaoi and
And it's like
porn.
and the thing is too, right? Like I block. No, the thing is like in my private messages or whatever, like I have it set where I think you can only, I don't know what the rules are, but it's like if you talk to me, you can, like I don't have an open a message receiving thing, and I still get so many like bots. And it's like, I don't know how to like, deal with that.
The fucking Indian. I'm fucking Indian.
Because there are people on like Twitter that actually like talk to somewhat regularly. So it's like I can't like avoid it because if I'm like trying to like talk to someone or do something, I get dinged. But anyways, it's very annoying. It's like I don't know, anyways.
Well, it's co-written by Jeets. Like every one of these laws just so make easier for Jeets to scam you because we now have there's all these Jeets infiltrating the right. Look, I do not trust any right-wing party that has any Indian members. They should have 0 Indian members.
Well, that's why I like what certain Canadian groups are doing. It's kind of like a positive thing. So
No,
I don't know. Again, we'll see what happens. But
what about But what are you gonna do with all the Native Americans? Where are you gonna send them? You gonna put them in a camp?
I mean, like they were fine like years ago. It's only because we pushed like a lot of the what do you call like the the anti-racism stuff and colonial stuff and all that stuff. It's because like it's just a cultural thing. If we quit like apologizing for all these like stupid things that don't matter, it'd be fine.
To quote the father of American anti-racism, even though he wasn't, they like to call him this. We need to beat the Indian out of them.
Well, the thing is, the whole Indian issue was more or less resolved with the residential school system and with the reserve system. Like I mean, like I don't know how it is in the States, right? But like the Indians aren't really being uppity anymore. Like you conquered them, you beat them. Things are more or less.
No, weirdly, besides the wow activists, they just act like white people most of the time.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? Like they're usually fine. The only reason they're uppity now is because our ruling class has empowered them because our ruling class is anti-white and multicultural. So
Yeah,
we do away with that, and then we're fine.
When we're on the subject of Nigel Farage, there was the guy who smashed an egg over his head. If a leftist does that again, can it please be like the claw end of a hammer? Can someone just I wouldn't care if some leftist please kill Nigel Farage on our behalf because I don't oh no we cover oh no not Nigel no so sad.
You're never going to be able to get into the UK with speaking like that.
Oh well, I would take it as a badge of honor to be banned from that country that's become a glorified police state. I would gladly get. I would go to Israel just to get arrested, just to get deported for Holocaust denial. I would hold up a sign that says that says you both need to leave. Free Jerusalem. This whole thing with free Jerusalem, but free Palestine. What is this Palestine you keep talking about? That's on the subject of Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The thing I really don't like on the right is the pro-Palestinians. What? I don't like Bonjage Pro, but he's right about one thing. Being an anti-Zionist is brown. It really is. Because fundamentally, both, if you actually, but he says it because he's a Zionist Romanian Jew. But the reason that fundamentally it's not in our interest is because the actual strategic thing to do politically would be to make the Muslims and the Jews fight even harder. We want to make they're both our enemies and we want them to kill each other.
What better serves the Christians of Israel Palestine?
To be honest,
because for almost 1,000-ish years, it's been ruled over by Muslims, right? And they had a thriving Christian community. There were persecutions here and there, but by and large, you could be a Christian, you could live in the Levant, and you could survive, right?
Well, actually,
since the creation of Israel, we've seen the depopulation of Christians in both Israel, Palestine, but also the entire Middle East as a whole. So just from that perspective alone, since the creation of Israel,
that has really nothing to do with. That has more to do with the rise of Wahhabism in the 50s. There's really nothing to do with the creation of Israel. Why did Wahhabism rise in the 50s? It
was a response to the creation of Israel.
No, not at all. No, it wasn't. the
What was it a
rise,
response to?
the rise of Wahhabism was the United States needing allies against the Soviets in the region, so we funded a bunch of radical Wahhabists. It had nothing to do with Israel. Israel until like the 70s was like the late sixties, like up until like the 50s was was ruled by like pro-Soviets.
Well, they alternate between who they supported, but the Wahhabists never supported Israel.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
it took until recently for Saudi Arabia to recognize Israel, and that might have been pushed back since October 7th and everything.
well,
But the point is, right? Like the reason these extremist forms of Islam came about was firstly they were following the Jewish example because the Jews invented terrorism, the modern form of terrorism we see in the Middle East with their bombings and mass expulsions and everything else that they've done. But also it's because like if you're a Muslim, right? So you lose the Ottoman Empire, so you don't have a caliph. So the head of both political and religious Islam, if you're a Sunni, is gone. And then you lose Jerusalem, you lose the holy city, and you lose
it's
Alaska
really,
Mosque.
it's really not that. They exaggerate how important it is to them. It really isn't that.
To not have a caliph.
Well, no, to like how important Jerusalem was.
Like,
No,
to
Islam.
to Sunni
Islam-
Muslims, they're essentially kind of in their end times, which is why you have Wahhabism, which is essentially a reform movement saying that okay, well, the Islam of the past is clearly faulty, so now we're going to become this super conservative sect. Like they're essentially like the Protestant Reformed version of Islam in a way.
No,
So,
that was in the 16th century, and they were all killed.
No, but I say that because like Muslims used to have images, used to have saints. There used to be like Muslim saints and shrines, right? Like they used to be kind of more aligned with traditional Christianity and in a way than they are now. And that's because the Wahhabist form of Islam, it's Protestant in that it's all the Quran and maybe a select few hadiths here and there, but primarily it's like a Quranic religion.
Well, no, it has nothing to do with the rise of Israel. We are the ones who funded.
But Israel coming about
Not at all.
legitimize them because this to them they felt that their religion had went astray.
No, it was the Soviets and the United States both funding radical groups in that area that caused it. Because we needed allies against Soviet groups, so we funded radical Islamic extremists. We trained Saddam. We help finance a lot of.
Well, no, the Soviets were behind like Saddam and Assad and everything.
Well, yeah,
because they were secular.
I meant who was that other guy?
You mean like the Emirates?
Yeah, that was us.
Like the Emirati states in Jordan
Jordan, Saudi. We fund a lot of that was us. Because we needed
on whose behalf?
We didn't do this whole idea that we did it on Israelis' behalf is childish. Like, yeah, we did the Iraq War and the invasion of Afghanistan and that stuff on the Israelis' behalf, but we were doing that on our own behalf to not allow
all the like. And the thing is, even if it's not like a deliberate action, we have examples of Jewish gangsters in the 50s and 60s stealing like surplus weapons and giving them to Israel.
Yeah, once
a lot of Jews came to power in America, you see them like essentially siphoning tax dollars and giving them to Israel.
Yeah, but that wasn't until like the late 70s and 80s.
Sure, but before that they were after they killed Kennedy.
Well, nothing to do with Kennedy. That's a myth. Kennedy was a literal commie scumbag
who didn't want Israel to have nukes.
It had nothing to do with Israel not having nukes. People like cite like one thing he did. Rockwell was right. Kennedy was shot by a Soviet agent,
and he also wanted to have AIPAC register as a foreign body.
Israel shot Kennedy, even though Lee Harvey Oswald was a trained Soviet assassin. He was a literal trained Soviet assassin.
I mean, wasn't. Yeah, but he was an idiot, Oswald.
Yeah, yes, he was. He literally lived in the Soviet Union for like 6 or 7 years, then was allowed to leave. No one is allowed to leave who isn't a Soviet spy.
Bernie Sanders also visited the Soviet Union.
But he didn't live there as a Soviet citizen. He also was attached to the Fair Play for Cuba Committee. The Fair Play for Cuba Committee.
Why would the Soviets want to kill Kennedy?
Bay of Pigs.
Who himself was a communist, or very like left leaning.
The Bay of Pigs invasion. Yeah, well, Rockwell
said the Bay of Pigs.
they still wanted. Yeah, well, again, let me finish. Basically, Rockwell will point out it's in the first part of White, which weirdly dedicates like 4 chapters of White Power to this. That they were planning on blaming anti-communists for Kennedy's assassination. Oswald was not supposed to get caught. Oswald got caught because Oswald, like when you think you're doing like you never committed petty crimes. I haven't either, but a friend of mine says like how you always get caught committing petty crimes is you look suspicious and you think there's someone trying to get you when you're walking past a cop and you start running. Oswald, when he was walking past a police officer he shot dead, literally thought that cop was on to him. So he shot at this cop, and that's how they called Oswald. It was complete coincidence, and Oswald screwing up. And then the guy who shot Oswald they didn't want Oswald to be tried because Oswald being dragged through the courts, he would have sung like a bird about his Soviet connections, and that would have given every anti-communist in the U.S. ammunition. Another reason they assassinated him,
but the U.S. was already anti-communist.
Yes,
this is not far from McCarthy.
Yeah, it would have been given more ammunition. Another reason they shot him is they used that to pass the Civil Rights Act. Before that, it was not going to pass. So that's the reason. This whole Kennedy was our guy. No, Kennedy was a disgusting communist enabling piece of shit who went after anti-communists with the DOJ, who was also cheated to win the 1960 election with the mob.
Who the most benefited from the assassination of Kennedy?
Who benefited the most?
Yeah.
Far left radical far left weirdos by passing the Civil Rights Act.
And who does that benefit?
Doesn't benefit the state of Israel. Like this whole idea that Israel.
Well, multiculturalism and multi-racialism benefits Israel.
Yeah, well, whatever. It's irrelevant. Like the Israelis had nothing to do with this. This whole Israel had something to do with it. It's just some bullshit thing people make up because they want to betray Kennedy. Kennedy was a disgusting subhuman.
I mean, my view with Kennedy was that like I kind of adopted the more American view, like the Alex Jonesian view, where like the CIA apparently.
No,
because well that's kind of the view that I had first kind of like because I didn't really buy the Israeli stuff either, but then I kind of like I don't know got into it more and they made a compelling argument, but
yeah, because that's the point. You know what's funny? Rockwell published White Power, then a year later he dies after publishing probably.
Yeah, I believe he was assassinated.
Yeah, he was assassinated.
Or I mean, like by like feds or something, like governmental forces.
Well, yeah, the guy knew exactly where Rockwell was going to be that day on that same rooftop. It's weird how that works.
Yeah, I should probably like head out though. It's been 2 hours.
Oh, okay. I'll see you later, Nation.
Sorry, yeah, no, I gotta head out. But next week should probably work too. I'll keep in touch.
Yeah, I'll try and find something actually to talk about.